That one glorious word represents more than just the geography between the Sabine and the Rio Grande. It represents a unique idea and way of life. A life of rugged individualism, proud self-reliance, gritty toughness, and fierce independence. That is what made Texas, and that is what will save her again. Howdy, folks. Sam Houston here. I want to thank you for tuning into the Feed Bandit podcast. Feed Bandit is the Texas first outdoors brand built by rabid Texans, for rabid Texans, and all those who aim to be one someday. We unapologetically promote the ideals that shape our Texas pride and Texas first patriotism through our love of hunting, the outdoors, and the gear and apparel we create. Texas, above all else, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Check us out at feedbandit.com. And to repeat that great rallying cry from a former colleague of mine, liberty or death. Now, enough of my talking. Here are a couple of bandits that love Texas as much as I do. Enjoy.
Do you consent to being recorded?
I do.
Okay, well, howdy, folks. Welcome back to the Feed Bandit podcast. Jimmy here, along with the Corn Bandit.
I'm here.
Ricardo.
I was about to say something nifty in Spanish, but it escaped me, so I have nothing.
Well, I'm going to Puerto Vallarta next week, so
I know.
I'll bring some nifty Spanish back with me.
Fun. I wonder what the weather's going to be like.
That's a good question. I need to look that up. Oh.
I mean, because like in Mexico, it's always like howler monkey, hot jungle weather, right?
Yeah. Well, it depends on where you are.
True. Very true.
When we've gone to Merida, Yucatan, the Caribbean side, all that stuff. Yes, it's hot. And then obviously Puerto Escondido, the South Pacific kind of side. Yeah, that's hot as hell. But Mexico City has amazing weather.
Right. Well, yeah, I've heard that, but lots of pollution.
I think it depends on the time of year. Because when I was there, it wasn't bad, but I don't know. We'll have to ask old Carlos that question. If he's listening, maybe he can on that.
It's true. That's true.
So what's going on? What's new for the folks?
Well, lots, just a bit outside. Yeah.
Low 90s, all sun, by the way.
Oh God. Wow. Well, yeah. It's really interesting. We always preach dove hunt. If you're a dove fanatic like I am, like of course Jimmy is as well, but he's nowhere near his dedication. Is his lack of dedication is his weakness.
My dedication ends when I can shoot a deer.
Oh, pumpkin, our cup overfloweth. Mom and Julie were at the house when we were out on Friday evening. Everywhere. And they say, of course, there are does and fawns, and so the house it's going to be bloody.
Oh no! Port shooting.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, potentially. All in the name of management, of course. The dove hunting. So right now,
before you jump into the dove hunting,
yes.
I can see where you're going with this.
Yes.
Let me just go over a little Texas history for folks. And the reason why I want to jump in here before I forget. We are recording this podcast on Sunday, October 13th. And reason why I actually point that out, because this particular one actually happened on October 13th.
Oh.
Back in 1845.
Oh, okay.
And can you guess what it was? I like to see if you can guess these things.
What? Okay, I'm sorry. Give me the 1845?
Yes.
Oh, well, God bless it. I can think of a couple of things that happened in 1845, which I am not happy about.
I think you're going along the right path.
Yeah, okay. I would say this is when they made the dumb decision to join the Union.
Wow, good job. So October 13th, 1845, voters overwhelmingly approve annexation. So
way to go, Anson Jones.
This is interesting, the number of votes on here too, which I didn't know this. So on this day in 1845, the voters of the Republic of Texas approved an ordinance to accept annexation by a vote of 4,245 to 257. They also adopted the proposed state constitution by a vote of 4,174 to 312. The annexation of Texas to the United States had been a topic of political and diplomatic discussion since the Louisiana Purchase in 1803.
Of course.
Which, it's interesting because obviously it was part of Mexico, and it's the empire thinking back then. It's like, well, maybe we ought to just annex that part of Mexico.
Sure.
Although most Texans had been in favor of annexation and had voted for it as early as 1836, so they'd been voting on it, I guess. Constitutional scruples, fear of war with Mexico, and the controversy of adding another slave state to the Union prevented the acceptance of annexation by the United States until 1845. So there you have it. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can, there's several ways to look at that, or today.
Yeah.
Maybe at the time, it was maybe a good thing just to prevent more war, like being taken over back by Mexico, maybe. But
no. Back then,
I don't know.
No brainer.
Yeah. Long term,
it is 100% no brainer because, in my opinion, I mean, more importantly, the number one topic is getting back into it with Mexico, because I'll be honest with you, you said something very, very interesting there. You said the Empire of Mexico. Where have you heard? United States, but right. Well, of course, right. But where have you heard empire before?
Star Wars.
Thank you. Okay, and here's the problem. Everybody knows this, that before 1837 is when they were supposed to have their Mexican Death Star ready.
Yes.
So if they had not defeated Santa Anna in 1836, we could have been in a world of shit. World of poop, excuse me.
We got to take a general cost for putting that extra exhaust port.
Yeah, right. That thing's no bigger than the Womp Rat. God damn it. Oh, I love it. It's brilliant. Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, it totally makes sense. Nobody wants to put up with that crap again, dealing with those guys. But more importantly, besides the whole Mexico thing, when you have the United States, allegedly and all their grand power, they're going to come down there, and funny enough, they're going to probably secure the border. Okay, because I know that there was a lot of Texicans
border dispute.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Was it the Rio Grande or the Nueces?
Yeah, and they were losing cattle to Mexican rustlers, which I also think is kind of funny because the Mexican rustlers would come take our cattle, and then we would go over there and take their cattle back. So it's kind of a wash, I think. But the other thing is that the people don't give them a lot of credence to was also the issues with all the Indians, which of course United States and Texas, Mexico, started, naturally because they were here first, but they didn't farkle for it. They just beat the crap out of each other. So having the U.S. here, I can definitely see back then as a value added. Now, had they had known, how our forefathers known how big a turds they all would be here in 2024, I'd be like, we'll just tough it out. Life expectancy in Texas is only 42 anyway, so we'll just tough it out without them. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a safe bet to say that they'd at least be saying right now, maybe it's time for us to go our own way again.
Oh yeah.
To revive the Republic of Texas.
Sure.
Again. This little marriage has been great for as long as it's been on, but we don't see eye to eye anymore. So maybe it's time for a divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got we're the battered. Truly, if you think about it, Texas is the battered spouse here.
For sure.
Washington, or Mordor, as I like to call it, just beating us down, telling us what to do, telling us what we can't do, stealing all the resources here, telling us we can't defend the border, letting the invasion across the river down there. Don't get me started. You've gotten me on a rant here.
Yeah. Oh, no, for sure.
But for our loyal listeners, they know that I've started talking and reading the book Texit. So this was how appropriate this day happened to kind of in the middle there, around that. So.
And it's interesting, when you talk about, Texit, people are like, oh, you're such a radical, but in reality,
less and less.
Yeah. Let me tell you. In reality, you got to look at some of the stuff that's trying to be leveled on us, and things of that nature. So
I don't know how, right now, the people of North Carolina, as an example,
poor God,
they should be banding together to be the first state to get out, or at least to tell Washington D.C. to go bluck themselves, because so they're sending all these billions of dollars to Ukraine and Israel, but they're not doing anything to help these folks. And
I agree.
Are you kidding me?
I agree.
That there is a reason to say bye.
No, I agree. Of course, on the one side, North Carolina is like, you can go pound sand, we'll want you, but in the other sense, they obviously need it. What a horrible thing that's happened in North Carolina. And I totally agree.
Anyway, that interesting day in history, October.
Oh, yeah. Very interesting.
So there you go.
And the president, that was was it Anson Jones? No, it wasn't Anson Jones. Who was it's not Richard M. Koch. Richard M. Koch was the governor.
That's a good question. It was
is it Anson Jones?
Burnett, maybe? No.
Maybe it was the last president of the Republic of Texas. Whoever it is, I gotta have a word with him.
Well, the man who does our intro to this podcast,
right?
He was very in favor of it and fought for it.
Oh, yeah.
At the same time, I think he did also say, didn't he say something to the effect, or paraphrasing, the United States needs Texas, but Texas doesn't need the United States, or something like that. But I don't remember if he said it at that point, or if he was saying that closer to the War of Northern Aggression. But I do remember that kind of quote coming out. But real quick, who was president? I know John Tyler, I think Polk was the U.S. president, but president of Texas.
I think it was Burnett. I've always thought it was Anson Jones then, but maybe it was. No, it was Anson Jones, because remember
it was. So he was the fourth and last president of the Republic of Texas.
Yeah. Well, because remember, we were working on the Feed Bandit merch, or the Feed Bandit merch line that we are working on. We've got some humorous items that are going to be coming out. Yeah, and one of them pokes fun at the decision that Mr. Jones made, and of course that ties in completely with that. It's like, good call there, Anson. Which is going to be really funny, because people are going to see that shirt in the 2 or 3 million of them that I'm sure that will sell, and they're going to go out there and probably research who's Anson Jones.
Right. See, a secondary benefit, trying to get people to know more and more about their state. That's why we're here.
Absolutely.
All right. Sorry for interrupting you. You were talking about the peace bird. The peace bird.
Yeah. So for those of you who are addicted to the little gray nemesis, I'll give you kind of the Rancho Bandito take on everything. I love early dove hunting in October, early October dove hunting rather. I really think that it can just be absolutely lights out, because normally by now we will have had a lot of cool fronts rather, and it really makes for some spectacular wing shooting. I mean, I can tell you, unfortunately, I have not had the luxury of going down to Rancho Bandito the past couple of weeks, but I did manage to come down and hunt Tuesday morning. Okay, and I am not a morning dove hunter guy. I never have done really well, but I went out because, quite frankly, I had the opportunity to do it, and boy, just seeing the world come alive outside of a deer blind is a lot of fun. I mean, that morning wake up when the birds start calling and all that. Short of the long, didn't shoot a single dove Tuesday morning. Sure saw a lot though. Dove in the morning are, water is not a deal for them. But food is where it's at. Food, and then a little bit later in the morning, they will go find gravel and whatnot. So, food has always been a big draw. And, I was hunting the frac tank, which if you listen to this, you've heard about that place. And set up where they normally come in the afternoon, hoping I'd have a pretty decent shoot there. And I had like one decoy, but it was like at 9 o'clock. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to spare your life. And so he kind of like, oh God, thank you. And flew off. But all around me on different parts of the frac tank, there was definitely more activity. The one common denominator, and this is good research for you if you don't have an experience hunting in the morning, is the area that I saw the most of in the morning were areas that had still some of the row crop standing. Okay, so in our case, it was some sunflower, and button up against that sunflower, it was holding quite a few birds. So don't know if that's just, that's a real deal, if that's the way it is, or that's just what it was. I don't know. Fast forward to this past Friday, got to go down again. It's because of life with kiddos. I literally have to make a decision. Okay, am I going? Are we going? We're going. Pack up and go. But I hunted on Friday afternoon at the frac tank, and I was heavily optimistic because again, playing the whole cold front thing. Now that cold front that's supposed to hit this area, as Jimmy said, it's Sunday, October 13th. It's gonna be 100 degrees, by the way, in this rat hole concrete jungle we live in, Dallas.
Yeah, 98 here.
So yeah,
it's not much better.
But a couple of days from now, it's supposed to be in the 70s and in the 50s. So I'm like, man, this is great. Saw a bunch of ducks. And so again, we always talk about the birds are in front of the cold front. So I was highly optimistic. And, unfortunately, going out there and only shot 3. Some of the best shooting of my life, by the way. I was looking at my game.
3 birds on 3 shells?
Yeah, absolutely. It was incredibly efficient. But again, there's no bad time in the field. My dad and his buddy ended up getting 2, so we had a nice snack. Ate him last night, actually, which was really, really nice. But again, surprise, seeing lots of ducks in the area. They can go duck themselves, but because I don't have to deal with those turds for another week, and they'll be down there in South Texas or Mexico, so I don't have to worry about them. But thought we'd see more. Didn't really see it. Yesterday morning, I decided to get up, and along Rancho Bandito, kind of the area we call the headquarters, we've got this little gravel road area, and we've always seen a lot of dove there. And again, it's always mid-morning, right? They're coming in and getting that gravel. There's some power lines that they like to perch on, so it's really not a terrible spot. My back was facing the sun coming up, so. It was, beautiful morning. Did have one dove come in, and I really tried to bring out my father's best friend. Passed away a couple years ago now, and his son gave me his Remington 28 gauge, and so me and that 28 gauge, we've had our ups and downs, but boy, oh boy, on this morning. The one shot I had was dead on, and I hit this dove. I mean, like, wow! I'm like, that's fantastic. And they talk about, it's funny. Well, I'd like to get into eventually, and maybe we'll save it for when it's next wing shooting season. Closer to dove. The difference between a 28 gauge and a 20 gauge. There's really that much difference. And come to find out, there really isn't, except for the fact the shells they're a little bit more expensive. Now, 28 gauges are becoming more popular, more supply equals demand. You got the hypernomics of the Fresnel codes and all that. Anyway, so anyways, I ended up nailing this dove. I'm like, this is great. Well, the dove goes long on me. He's dead. He's curled up. He's dead. Okay. but he is in the bush. Okay, no problem. I'm in my Crocs because I'm comfy. Oh yeah, and I start wading through these bushes, and I'm smart. I'm using my 28 gauge barrel, which is empty, to kind of move the broomweed away. And I marked it really well because I know I'm in Crocs. And oh God, just like that scene on Home Alone when Marv is going up the stairs and steps on the nail. Which, by the way, is apparently his screams are the greatest screams in Hollywood history.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, phenomenal.
That's for sure.
Oh God, I step on a old mesquite branch and the thorns go straight through my Croc into my foot. And of course I was like, like, yeah. And of course I kind of lose my balance. I'm like, sweet Jesus, I'm gonna fall in cactus.
Right.
So I hobble out of there, and I can feel my Croc is starting to squeak with blood.
Oh shit.
And I'm able to limp back to my chair, and boy, sure enough, it thank God it just split my little toe and my that second to last toe. I just kind of clipped it, but God bless it, dude.
So it didn't go directly like a good shot right into
the
meat of the foot.
No, it did not go in the meat of the foot. But then I used pliers to get that thing out. So it's funny. It's funny. It's something we're going to talk about offline because listen, people are going to hunt in Crocs. It's just the way it is. It's maybe stupid, but it's so nice. I mean, that night before at the frac tank, I actually wore my Crocs out there, but I had my boots right there. So one of the ones I shot landed down near the frac tank. So I had to put my boots on and we'll slip them on and go down there and get it. But anyway, not the best hunt you'd want for, I guess we can call it mid-October, but again, still fun. And man, you got to play those fronts now. You got to play those fronts. Now this is a big one coming in. So it's going to blow a lot of animals, a lot of birds south, but it's going to blow a lot in too. So if you still got an area that's still got feed, on the ground, loose grains, obviously the big cereal grains, Milo and all that kind of stuff is huge. Also, winter wheat is starting to be drilled right now. Now, army worms are really, 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 really bad this year, especially up here in North Dallas. I mean, the Dallas Morning News had an article about army worms, which I'm sure no, the army worms are terrorists, are coming to get us. But so they're
really. I thought you were going to say they're just protecting your freedom.
Oh, that's very true. Thank you. No, that's true. That would be the eagle worms.
Oh yeah.
No, but so the army worms are really, really bad this year. So you're going to start to see a lot of these wheat fields maybe being planted a little bit later. So. Don't be surprised if you cut into a bird and those things are full of wheat. Dove are not stupid. They will sit there and they will find those wheat fields that have just been drilled. So, but keep after them for sure.
All right. So the moral of the story is just wear your boots.
Wear your boots. God, it was so cool, dude. I believe it or not, I actually wore a little jacket. Of course, it's funny. I put the jacket on. I go out there. I set everything up. I park the Ranger. I get back. I'm like, I'm sweating. Why am I wearing this jacket? I take it off. Falls in the ant pile. I'm like, what? Wear a damn jacket, dude. You know better.
That's funny.
You know better. So.
Can you hear my? It's probably Poppy. Can you hear her banging like pots and pans out there? I don't know if it's getting on the.
No, I love her.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, no. But if I wish I could hear it, that would be great. Cutie.
So we got something about quail though too.
Yeah. So we read a couple of weeks ago from our good friends at Lone Star Outdoor News, the best publication that covers the Texas outdoor hunting world and fishing. Had a good article in there about talking about Quail Guard, which again is the first medicated feed used to treat eyeworms and a couple other parasites in wild and probably domestic quail as well. So been really big deal because quail numbers have have fallen off. Of course, love them, okay, but the damn quail, man, they're just they need to toughen up a little bit. And some people would say they are tough, right? Okay, well, anyway, they're not moody,
I guess.
Yeah,
say,
yeah. So, but wanted to read you some of the little bits and pieces from this article. They started shipping in July, and I guess Quail Guard was kind of under the impression that a lot of the sales were going to be primarily in the Panhandle. Okay, that's where you got a lot of the big, quail leases, quail productions, and all that. But the majority of the sales, according to them, have been in South Texas. Which is really cool because obviously that brush country is huge quail habitat. And so that is pretty cool. Started shipping in July, and through August 31st, they had already sold 1,000 bags, which is 25 tons of medicated quail feed, which is pretty cool. Also, they I think that they were, and of course this could be not the case, but shout out to our dear alma mater here. This was developed by Dr. Ron Kendall, who is a professor of environmental toxicology at your Texas Tech University,
and the father of Quail Safe, the father of forget his name that we interviewed.
Oh yeah. I think they had something to do with that too.
I think it's Ron Jr. I think.
Yeah,
sorry, I don't remember your name right off the bat. I feel bad.
Yeah,
you had that ready to go.
Absolutely. And speaking of Quail Safe, I saw one of their social media posts the other day, and they had a bear trying to get into one of the Quail Safe feeders, and it passed the test, which is pretty cool. So I sent them an instant message like, you guys should make coolers too, going off the whole Yeti thing.
Yeah, Ron Jr. Ron Jr. is who we talked to. Way back on in. Oh shoot, he had to ask me episode 50. So that was 4 years ago, something like that.
We gotta get them back on. Obviously, we've talked to them. Interesting. A lot of majority of the bags have been sold in Texas, but Oklahoma, Florida, and the Carolinas too, which is really interesting. The South used to have a lot of wild quail population, but habitat fragmentation has been a huge problem down there. So that's one of the things. And also, according to this, and I think this was a real surprise to everybody, some of the feed's been sold in New York.
Oh, really?
So I don't know. I'd like to hear some information on that. I don't know. I don't know if they have wild quail in New York. So anyway, very interesting.
Yeah, I had no idea really how far north they would go. So
yeah.
Well, hold on. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so it's not the cold so much. It's all the other like cover and disease or worms and stuff like that. So
I think the biggest thing affecting quail this day and age is just habitat fragmentation. Okay, that is by far the biggest problem because when you say habitat, that's all inclusive of the things they need. They need cover, flushing cover, water, food, and then like roosting cover. So there's like 5 things that they need. And so obviously, if you've got a covey of like, 10 to 15 birds, I don't know what the math is on that, but they have to have X amount of acres. And so the problem becomes if you've got habitat that's broken up, whereas you've got perfect habitat in 10 acres, but then you go across the street and there's 7-Eleven, that really jacks things up,
Yeah, that would throw me off.
Yeah, it really would. The quail have a big meeting. It's like, listen, we've got to start eating those little tumbler hot dogs they have. You know,
yes. It's like we got to get rid of the 7-Eleven, and we need an Allsup's here so I can eat the burrito.
God, I love Allsup's, by the way. I absolutely love that place. But anyway, yeah. So very interesting. It'll be interesting to see, you know, what this does long term. You know, what this does to the quail thing long term. I think that the one thing that they will say though is that, okay, you know, you need this medicated feed is going to help. It's going to help in all these kinds of areas, but absolutely nothing takes the place of good, sound habitat management. Okay, getting out there and not having too much of this, not having too much of that. But it's going to be interesting again, as I keep saying, to see just how much that feed really impacts quail numbers.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Can you buy? I guess you probably could. I don't know. You know how you bought deer and you bring them onto your property. Do people buy quail to populate their
that
land?
That has been tempted and a lot. And Dr. Dale Rollins, who is the quail, the king of quails, kind of like I like to call him, he has talked about that a lot. And you know, when it was first started, they have these little things called surrogators, where it's like little quail condos, you know, and you put them out there, and then they kind of go back to there, and then they kind of venture away from them more, but then they come back, you know, and the predation from raptors, and I'm not talking about big problem out there. You know, eating quail and quail hunters alike. The predation from raptors was just insanity. It was insane. It was terrible. Now there are places that are flight training quail. Okay, and that it's actually kind of neat. They get them in this big ass pen, and pheasant too. They get them in this huge pen, and they've got cover trees planted in there, and then they have this hawk, okay, or a fake hawk, obviously, on a
like a string or something.
Yeah, like on the string, and it goes through there, and it kind of makes the you know. Don't know any numbers on that, how that does as well, but I do know I've hunted a lot of quail release places where, you know, they've gone out there and they've put quail, and the survival rate is not great. Now, you know, if you went out there and released 300,000, you know, I don't know, maybe something would work, but
yeah,
that has not been a viable option as of yet.
So you don't know of a big quail farm as an example, like
I mean, no, off top. I mean, I tell you,
or an operation set up to raise quail for transplant, or for a ranch to buy for transplant or anything like that.
Well, I know of several. I mean, you could use them for that. I mean, I know of a lot of places where you can buy quail and then bring them out there and then hunt them. But and I'm assuming it would kind of be one and the same, you know.
I guess kind of like what we did at Rough Creek, right?
Yeah. Except
pre-released,
right? Except they're probably a little bit more, you know, a little bit more vigor in their step. You know, and it's funny because I mean, you look at the hawks out there; they're like me. They're like, "Oh, I'm so fat. Oh God, quail again."
Yeah, another quail.
I would love to try to interview a quail from the Rough Creek, or excuse me, a hawk.
A hawk.
Like, so, Mr. Raptor, thanks for joining us today. What are your thoughts about chucker meat versus pheasant meat versus quail meat? You know, he sounds like Beaker, you know,
right?
But yeah, no, it's not a perfect science. I think they've done some of that with pheasant too. I'm not sure exactly how the pheasant compare. I think the pheasant are a little bit more hardy than quail. They're a little tougher, I think. But I do know, as far as predation is concerned, a pheasant coming up is, you know, it's like, you know, it's not good. It's like us standing up. You know, it's pretty slow. You know, whereas a quail busting out, it's a lot faster.
Yeah. Huh. Well, speaking of supporting your local feed store, is this quail? Is this feed available like in a general
It not. I think it's. I don't think it's not available in every single. Hi, darling. It's not available in every feed store, but I mean, obviously that's going to be most assuredly the goal.
What was? Tell me the name. I'll put a link to their website. And I can't. I don't know why it just slipped my mind.
No, it's. I think it's called Quail Guard. Let me get the yes. Quail Guard medicated feed.
Yeah, I'll try to find it on the. I'll find their website and put a link in there. A link in the show notes.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
I guess you could use that in conjunction with the Quail Safe feeder, and then
the
ultimate feeder.
Situation. You could. The other thing is this is actually kind of something interesting. But maybe I'd like to ask the guys. I wonder. Okay. Could you put this feed, and maybe I'll shoot them an email. Could you?
It's their stuff. I'm on the Quail Safe website here.
I think they're one and the same.
Yeah. Okay.
But kind of my thought is, could you put this stuff in a regular spin feeder, and if you could, and mix it in. If you could, does it have any other benefits for other animals, for example, dove, things of that nature, or turkeys, which of course Dad would be like, who cares? It's just kill them all. I know.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
We'll leave that one for another one.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's kind of funny because, this year the poults, oh my God, billions of them. And it's really funny because that camera that I've got out in front of the house every day, about 5:30. And here they come. There's like 90 of them, and they just make their way across the house. Like I can't see it because the camera. They're probably on the porch, just vacuuming up all the acorns. Which like, hey, that's the great thing about it. Have at it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good stuff. You got anything else you want to?
I am good to go.
Other than reminding folks to support your local feed store and businesses in the small town Texas.
Oh, big time. Absolutely. Yeah, we got a lot more information to bring you guys. It's exciting.
Awesome.
Thanks, stuff. So.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Take care.
Well, I hope the Bandits gave you an interesting episode that either entertained or educated you. Or better yet, both. Hell, I told them this podcasting thing looks harder to do than defeating Santa Ana. So if you would, please help them out by sharing it with all your like-minded friends to help the Bandits get the word out. And don't forget to check us out at feedbandit.com and grab some gear and apparel to support the cause of Texas. Remember, Texas, above all else, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Finally, as I said some time ago on the eve of the great battle, and I vigorously repeat here again, be men, be free men, that your children may bless their father's name. Well, fellow bandit, until next time.